Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and got a weird one for you today. This past weekend, I had expected to go to a party at Leah Progression Playoffs, Leah's house, and then like right before I was leaving, I got really sick, and then my car broke down in sequence. $3,000 repair, by the way. I'm never buying a Ford as long as I live. I this car was a hand me down, and it has let me down a lot. If any of you have $3,000, I'll gladly take it off your hands, or a Toyota. Anyway, I was home stuck this past weekend, so I thought to myself, if I'm going to be trapped in my office, I might as well play some Yu-Gi-Oh! So I entered a remote regional that was going on Sunday. I haven't been to any regionals or done any LCQs yet this national season, so I was like, I'll just pick up my invite, and it'll be a day of it. And I actually ended up getting second. I lost in finals to Shumping Zhu, which is not particularly surprising. He drolled my ass twice. So I wanted to just tell you about the deck that I got it with and talk with you a little bit about the card choices. So you might be wondering what this is doing on Clips. Well, it's Dominic Couch's list. It is card for card Dominic Couch's list with one change that I think made the deck much worse. So it's not like I can spend a lot of time talking about card choice because it's Dominic Couch's list. I just net decked it. Like I looked at the list when it happened 2 weeks ago. I went, dang, that's like really, really solid understanding of how these cards work. I purchased the cards and then I went to a local and I was like, yeah, this feels great. Like I was like, I didn't change anything. So what, am I just going to tell you about the cards? But I do want to talk a little bit about like how the cards interact because that's not always in these deck profiles. And in so doing, hopefully, we will all learn a great deal about ourselves. I'll tell you about my run real quick before I get into the deck. I played against Mimighoul round one. I actually almost lost that match. The only way that I could have made it out of game 3 was by flipping a slime and then summoning a monster with a trigger effect to turn on my thrust so that I could go get a fucking bonfire. Second round was Labyrinth. Third was Centurion. Fourth was Azamina Snake-Eye Fiend Smith, and I got deck checked. Fifth was Fire King Snake-Eye, and I got deck checked. Sixth was Tenpai. And then seventh was Azamina Snake-Eye, and I got deck checked. So whoever was running the deck check tables is already intimately familiar with this profile. But we'll do it for the huddled masses regardless. So first up, we got the guys: Ash, Oak, Poplar, Flamberge, and the big girl. These are they feel better than they've felt in a while. It really sucks that this is the number of them that you get to play. You only want to draw this one. These four are just all garnets. It's a 4-to-1 garnet ratio. That's what you like to hear in the best deck in the format. Previously, people were playing like maybe a fourth little guy. Second Oak came up a lot. God forbid some people played Birch. I know I did. There was actually one game today where I was like, I should be playing Birch, but the feeling went away very quickly. But of course, the 3 feels really good now just because you have this unfettered access to OSS that you really didn't have in the past. And we'll talk about how when we get into it. On one final note, the fact that these are all garnets sucks, but the fact that like Deception exists and requires a guided tribute means that constantly you're just like sending Flamberge and you're like, whew, glad I'm getting some value out of this asshole. Next up, we've got Diabell Star. Diabell Star went from being like kind of a whack-ass extender to the best card in the deck by a lot. So previously, this card was in a really weird spot because like it performs a very strange function in the deck where if you're playing in Dueling Book solo mode, you can go like Diabell Star to start your combos and then like end on a much more profitable end board than you would be able to if you just win normal summon Snake-Eye Ash, right? And it helps that she's a spellcaster for like Selene reasons. But as the deck or the extra deck tightened, you became constrained in terms of your end board by what's in here rather than what's over here. And as a result, like the better version of the end board wasn't that better, so frequently it was more profitable to just hold Diabell Star and just like dare your opponent to imperm you, at which point you could like get to another another starter. In this way, she was like a shitty crossout designator, but now she is not. She's everything. So she's access to your linear play, obviously, by getting OSS through a series of unfortunate events. But she also puts up a negate because she can get Deception, and Deception gets to Illa Sylvia, which does that. There's a multitude of really impressive stuff you can do with this card. It's just so unbelievably good. Next up, one Lacrima, one Engraver. Thank the Lord someone figured this one out. I would like to pledge fealty to Dominic Couch for teaching me that this is all you had to play. This is the clunkiest part of the deck by a lot. In the old builds, especially post Beatrice ban, it was like, ooh, I'm playing Fiend Smith Engraver to grab Tractus, a one of that I can't draw, to grab Luria, one of that I can't draw, or I have to spend my normal summon on in order to make a rank 6. And it was like, oh, you can make Caesar as part of your end board. And it's like, I don't know if that's really going to be the difference maker. After Beatrice ban, of course, it couldn't get you to your linear plays. You were just like chilling with Desiree. Now it is just so available as part of a setup that has become immediately like infinitely more accessible that it just feels perfect. Lacrima specifically is an incredible card. She blocks. Did you know that? She like hops out of the graveyard and blocks sometimes. But she sends a Light Fiend from deck on summon and can send like the Fiend Smith Engraver to get you 4 Light Fiends in graveyard, which is really awesome because frequently having that sort of utility is the difference maker. To give you an example, like the normal setup is like Lacrima. You've already got Moon and in the Requiem in graveyard. Lacrima sends Engraver. You can go Requiem, target Lacrima for an extra send off Oak, or you can go Engraver, shuffle back Moon to summon itself for an extra body. You can go Requiem, target Engraver to get a send of a monster. You don't have to use the body of Engraver. It's not necessary because the Lacrima and just a random guy can become the Sequence, and then Sequence can leave one of them in the graveyard, which is crazy for either follow-up, or she can body block. You know, she can get in there because she's just chilling in the graveyard. It's really impressive what having 4 available does for you, and it's great that you now only have to play these 2. And like if you draw one, it's no big deal. It doesn't feel bad at all. I loved it. It was my favorite part of the deck all weekend. Let's talk about these cards. So we got 3 copies of Deception. We got 3 copies of Wanted. I was really surprised people don't know the thing you can do with Wanted yet. I didn't use it in the TMT, so maybe it's my fault. But the concept is you can go Deception effect, summon Murcielago. Grab like this. Then the Murcielago adds Wanted, Hallowed, shuffle back Murcielago, Hallowed to summon Illa Sylvia, chain Wanted, grab Diabellstar, and then because Wanted remains on the field until the chain is done resolving, you can send that for Hallowed Azamina. There was someone I played against who didn't do it, and I was like, why? What? It's so free, please. These cards are unbelievable. They're shocking. It's truly appalling that they exist in any capacity. They play with each other really well. It's not like some of the like Engraver lines where like you kind of have to commit to it early, or only at one point in your combo, or only to do one thing. These cards are super flexible all across the board. Because this Hallowed Azamina reveals and summons for effect is what I was ruled at this event, I believe. You can go just Illa Sylvia to threaten if you don't want to do the Murcielago stuff, or if you already have access to combo. But even if you don't, like Diabellstar can get you into Deception, and Deception can get you into Diabellstar. So it can either get you a negate for your setup or your setup period. There's a couple weird interactions that I thought were worth remarking on. So in Couch's deck profile, he goes Hallowed Azamina for Murcielago, add Wanted, Murcielago shuffle back for the graveyard effect of Hallowed, Hallowed send Wanted, right? And the reason, but Hallowed doesn't have to send from field. It can send from graveyard. The reason you don't send from grave is if you like link off Murcielago or something, and then you go Hallowed effect in grave, shuffle back Murcielago, and they go, okay, Bestial, then you're cooked. Like, that's disastrous for you, right? Because now you don't have access to the Hallowed Azamina at all, ever. But if you've gone through the route backwards, the play is frequently Diabellstar goes to the graveyard over the course of the combo, like as the tribute for Deception or something. And then you go off the Murcielago OSS, Hollowed send OSS, and then OSS shuffle back the Diabellstar. So in those scenarios, you might as well get the Murcielago engrave because they already have a really good bestial in proactive target Diabellstar in order to cut you off OSS to get to your line that way. The fact that Murcielago searches a Sinful Spoil spell trap also means that OSS is just so available at all times. The card has gotten so good. You use both effects all the time, every game. It's great. Bonfire's still in here, still legal. I kind of thought they would limit this. I'm going to be honest with you. And then we're playing one of the Divine Temple and Azuroon as our Silo Hat Rabbit target, rather. Shumping was on Hat Trick, and I was like, "What on Hat Trick? What the hell?" And he goes, "Hat Trick target Deception," and I'm like, "I see why you're on Hat Trick. That makes a lot of sense if I'm being honest." Let's do non-engine. We've got Fualas. This card was kind of mid all day because it kept playing against weird stuff that didn't play into it. But when it was good, of course, it did win the game on its own. Ash Blossom, probably non-negotiable in the main because of all the Charmies flying around. We've got the Veilers. These are just the ratios from the Dom list. I did not change anything. We've got 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Bestials. We've got Call By, and then we've got 3 Imperms. I want to draw specific attention to the Ghost Ogres. Ghost Ogre was crazy all day. Specifically crazy against Centurion. The kind of thrust of Centurion is it's the deck that doesn't care about the hand traps people are playing. But you know what it does care about is Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. The thing about Ghost Ogre is that it's not always good, but it's always, it always does something. But when it's good, it's really good. And it's got like a target against the best deck now, and like you can hit the Deception. That's cool. Let's do the extra. So the side, rather. Yeah, let's do the extra. Fuck it. This is pretty self-explanatory. Again, exact same as the Dominic Couch list. Illisilvia, Murcielago, Desiree, Sequence, Requiem, Moon, Anima, Stilohat, SP, Masquerena, Hita, Promethean. I'm back on Raging Phoenix and World Seas Atlantis. I was so happy to see that they were in the deck. Shu was on Celine and Access Code in those slots, which I understand. But I really like that there's a button in the extra deck that's just like, I win the game now. It means that this deck is really adept at picking apart boards. You spend 15 minutes picking apart boards, your brain's fried. You're like, oh my God, how am I going to win this game? Oh wait, I know. It's the same way as last time. And then God save the Azaminas because Illisilvia is an Omni and completely invalidates a significant amount of those terrible enabler cards that we were playing for the Fiend Smith engine, M7 and we have to have Caesar as part of our end board. We now have 1 slot in the extra we can do something with. Nightmare Phoenix was the card that I played, just like Dominic Couch. Again, it's just his list. I loved it. I loved it all week. People kept trying to teak-boo me. It's a great card. It's also fire, which means that you can make it under Promethean Princess. You can make it literally under Promethean Princess, and then you draw a card. It was great all week. I loved it. All weekend. It was wonderful. Let's do the side deck. So almost the exact same side deck as well. We have 1 Skill Drain and 3 Nibiru. This was the Baldrake. It should have been the Baldrake, and these should have been in my binder, as should Skill Drain. These cards were terrible. There's really nothing worth Nibiruing this format. I didn't realize that. Centurion only summons 4 times. Tenpai doesn't summon at all during the main phase. Azamina, Snake Eye, and Fire King do not care about this card because now they have 45 negates up before they commit enough. I don't know. It was really strange. I was like, what am I going to Nibiru a Yubel player that forgot to purchase Phantoms? It was really, really strange. I would not play it moving forward. We played 3 Perulia. This card was unbelievable. I should have mained this. Oh my God, it was so good. Every single one of these lists I saw had this tactics board that was thrust, 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 Dimension DDG, 2-dimensional barriers, and a talents. And I was like, I do not understand the sighting pattern, and I will not understand the sighting pattern by the point of the event. So I'm gonna do something else. I took a couple of those out. Taking out the talents was a real mistake. Don't do that. But I put in instead 3 draw. Now, why am I playing 3 draw? So this was my contribution to the deck. So the concept is, when Master Duel first came out, Americans it's like 2 a.m. Americans didn't really have a good grasp on how to play against Maxi, myself included. So I was like, what I'm going to do, at least in the immediate, is I'm going to main deck 3 Droll. It's already pretty good against some strategies. I'm going to main deck 3 Droll. And then when I get Maxied or Charmied, I will let them draw a couple, and then I will Droll them at a point in the turn where I don't need to draw anything, because fun fact, this asshole is reciprocal. So like, the concept was, if I get Perulia'd, I'll commit minimally, and then like on the first or second draw, I'll be like, get owned, you're not drawing anymore for the rest of the turn. But let's think about it in practice. If I get Perulia'd, and let's say I've opened Diabellstar, Bonfire, Flamberge. This is like a hand you open all the time. Like a guy you don't want to open, Diabellstar, and a Way to Ash. So they go, draw phase Perulia. I'm like, oh, I got you cooked, buddy. I got you cooked. There's a Droll in my grip. And I go, okay. That's fine with me. That's nothing to me. That shit ain't nothing to me, man. Special Diabellstar. Get OSS. And they're like, oh my God, I'm only going to draw 1 this turn. But I'm like, wait, I can't draw them here. Because I OSS. Ash has to get Poplar. So I go, that's fine, whatever. OSS. Ash. Poplar. Special Poplar. They draw 2. I go, well, I can't really draw them now. I do need the Poplar to resolve. And now you see the problem. I'm going to give them like 3 draws. Theoretically, though, and this is why I did end up registering it, there's a line where you go like, Diabellstar, get OSS, Bonfire. No, the line is Bonfire for Poplar, Diabellstar from hand, send Poplar, OSS for Oak for Poplar, Poplar add, and then you can get you got to figure out a way to get him another draw. And so like, this was why I played it. It's 2 a.m. You could probably tell I'm delirious. It was so this is why I played it. And then in my head, I'm going over this line and I'm like, Joseph, that line just plays around Perulia. You are drolling them for no value. You've given them 1 draw. That you are not getting anything out of this shit. And I'm like, but what if I also draw Ash? Like, that's what I'm planning for here. It's crazy. Anyway, that's pretty much it. that's really all I have to say. Thanks, Dominic Couch, for making a list that's so idiot-proof that even after fucking it up, I was able to get second at this regional. Yeah, but I will conclude on this because this is some fucking pushback that I've gotten a little bit recently that I just want to address the haters and the losers. I really like this format. The reason that I played this regional wasn't that I hate Yu-Gi-Oh! I think people frequently demand consistency from me. They want me to always be saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Is bad or always be saying Yu-Gi-Oh! Is good. And the truth of the matter is that formats come and formats go, and some are good and some are bad. And I am being honest when I say the format we are currently in feels better than probably the last 6 months of formats at minimum. I enjoy it a lot. When I say this, a lot of people come back with the same thing, which is the obvious answer, which is I understand this format is good. I personally cannot play it because I can't afford FUA losses. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. With respects to paper play, you are 100% in the right. Like, that sucks. And you will lose games you should have won for not having FUA loss. But I really would encourage you to try any of the free simulators that exist. There is a robust tournament scene on Omega. There is a robust dueling book tournament scene. There's a ladder system there. Try the format. See if you like it. You can find ways to play events from your computer using free software and not spending a dime. And then when you play a paper tournament at your local, just bring Drytron. That's what I was gonna do before I got the Fuwa losses. That's it. Bye bye. I love you all. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. World peace.